I believe we are live. How's everyone doing? I realize I'm invisible at the moment. It happens sometimes when you shift your vibrations. You gotta realign so that you become physical again. But really, I was just finishing setting up the broadcast and then coming over to sit down and have a nice conversation with you. Seriously. December 25th, 2017. We are live on YouTube talking about what a beautiful day. Seriously. I've spent 24 years dreading this day. I know that that dread that I had is what would often fuel anxiety and fear, causing release of a bevy of neurotransmitters to signal all kinds of harmful effects for my body. And it was the most amazing journey and terrifying. But it was full of magic and miracles, death, trauma, deep sadness, and loss. And one of the things that I'm hoping to use this vlog for is making it a point to open up about my life, what's happened, what I've experienced, what I've felt. Not because I really need to share it with anybody specifically, just that I've kept it all inside all these years. I don't open up to people, not naturally. It's not been my thing. I learned at an early age that it would just get me hurt. And so, like anyone else who uses defense mechanisms to cope, I avoided my problems. And the reason Christmas was a problem was my dad, my biological father, Philip Eugene McVeigh. He died at age 33 on Christmas Day. He was a great man. He had his flaws like everyone. And he did many terrible things in his 33 years. But he did many amazing and great things as well. And those are the things worth focusing on and remembering. And so I don't have to keep thinking about this as the day that he decided that partying and drugs was more important than staying alive and being there for his kids. I don't have to hold that judgment against him anymore. It's not for me to do, and he's been dead for 24 years now. It's not like it's going to do any good. So I was going to talk about magic and miracles, But before I get too much further into all this, I want to talk about three things that I'm grateful for today. Today, I am deeply grateful for the gift of an amazing body with new talents and abilities that I discover every single day that leave me feeling full of energy and truly amazing in most instances. That's uh, that's something I'm deeply thankful for. I was not always on good terms with my body, and I am so thankful I am now. I think that's one of the best relationships that I have made in the last few years, and the one that I am most deeply thankful for. Number two thing that I am deeply grateful for today is my wonderful family, and I mean all of them. I don't do a great job of communicating with everyone. Uh, I've been working on that. Still not there yet, obviously. But if any of you are tuning in right now, just know that I love you. And I'm sorry I'm not better at making it a point to call you directly and tell you that. So I'll work on that. Number three, but definitely not last, thing that I am extremely grateful for, just so deeply grateful. I am grateful to Source, God, the universe, the elements, the force, whatever name you like. I don't care. I know you're there. And I thank you for everything that you say to me and that you do for me and that you do through me, that you let me do for others. The gift of giving that you allow me is the most amazing thing. I am never more thankful than when you give me so many ways to brighten the days of others, to do something as simple as carry a bag or just be that person who happens to notice that you're feeling down and say the right thing because you inspire the words. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Am I still there? I am still there. I missed a phone call, but I couldn't answer it because I'm kind of bugged out. Tyler, if you're watching this, I'm already just running with this. So give me a minute and I will have to send you a link to get in. Alright? Alright, everybody. Uh, if you'll bear with me, I will return shortly. All right, I think we are good to go. Did you get the link? Is the question. All right, I sent him a message. We'll see if he's coming on. Come on, buddy. Are you coming? Okay, no, you got to hit the video, buddy. Nobody can see you typing. Hit the video. Come on. All right, try it from up here.
Hello? Whoa. I see cool stuff in the background. What the hell is going
Are you in
on?
there? Hey man, are you there?
Hello? Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm hanging out right now, yeah.
There you are. Okay, I can't hear you. I wonder
Uh,
why.
it's probably because you're not right
Volume
next
is
to your
down really low.
telephone. Yeah, hey buddy.
There we go.
I was about to say,
Well,
you can hear me now, right?
yes, I can hear you. It's on my end.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure, man. Let me see here. I'm getting like, I don't know, like I was telling you the other day, I'm just getting like a lot of weird
All right,
messages.
you there?
Yeah, are you here?
Okay, now I can hear you. I don't know what's wrong.
Okay.
For some reason, my Bluetooth crashed on me. No worries.
Oh no, that's not good.
All right. They probably just need to be charged.
There you go, man. That's usually my case is I got to charge up my stuff and I don't ever realize it until I'm actually using it.
That's usually the case.
Yeah, right.
I went
Generally,
ahead
that is
and
the case.
started about 10 minutes ago. But it's no big deal. I just got my normal daily stuff out of the way. And this is actually, I went ahead and since I hadn't heard back from you, I went ahead and started this up as my, like one of my vlog episodes. So welcome as a special guest onto my vlog, Tyler Baker.
Hello, my friends. I am so glad to be here. I really am. I
So this is
really
kind of
am.
awesome. It really is. Um, we are live on YouTube right now.
I
So
see that.
we should probably tone down on the profanity if we can. I try for the most part. I don't always succeed, but you know how that goes.
Okay, how about this then? If you hear any profanity, it is going to simply be for the inspiration of reality, but not necessarily that. So, oh God.
I mean, me personally, I don't care. Not like I would put it, you know. That
That's
would
okay.
require effort that I'm not going to put forth.
That is totally okay. Hang on a sec. I got stuff I'm moving around, so I don't mind talking and stuff while I'm doing that. So yeah, if you see me doing stuff with stuff, that is why. Anyways, so how is tonight going for you? Good, that is great. That's how I feel too. I woke up this morning and I was kind of upset, and I was like, man, it's gonna be Christmas by myself. But then all my homies came through and were like, nah, we're hanging out and beefing. So like the past 4 months for me personally, they've been kind of a challenge because I just kind of do my own thing, but at the same time, man, it's been pretty cool. I left my pipe down here. Yeah.
Oh, you left it underneath all the boards?
Well, yeah, I was leaving the house and I was like, hey, let me put that up somewhere really quick. So, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, you're freaking out. No, I'm not like pushing boxes out of here. I see all of it.
I heard a bunch of shit crashing from the room.
I know, right? You just heard worlds getting wrecked from your room. It's okay. Okay. Bye-bye. But anyways, what I was saying was, so it's like, even though like the past few months have been kind of challenging for me, at the same time, like I also embrace the fact that I get to be here and kind of like share moments like this with people. And I don't know, I'm just trying to start some conversation.
No worries, man. I don't know. For me, like I said, I was thinking a lot about my dad. It's been like 2,000 years since he died, and it was like Christmas morning, and it really, I let it get to me and weigh me down a lot over the years, and so I let this be a year to work myself past that, to where that's not something that really weighs on me anymore. I talked about it at the beginning,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's it's just kind of cool. I had this interesting, we'll call it a dream,
Yeah.
last night, where my dad visited me, and my grandfather that passed away earlier this year, he was there too, and we went on this. I don't know how to explain it other than it was like this journey through time, and just seeing different things that had happened, and really kind of just getting a bigger scope or a view of everything happening.
Right.
And it was really cool because I kind of felt like, or I feel like now, like I can still feel both of them right here in the room. You know how that is when you got your back to the door, but you still know somebody just walked up to it?
Well, and whenever people pass away, like for example, my friends, I used to get kind of bent about it, but when people that we care about pass away, a piece of them stays in your heart. It really kind of does. And, and I can feel that too. Like, even though I haven't ever met your dad, and even though this is the first time we've actually spoken about it, I can also just hear it in the tone of your voice that is also a truth a little bit, because like you're saying, it's like sometimes it feels like they're in the room, right?
Right. I wonder if it's not, I like to call it magic and miracles when things like that happen, where you somehow manifest the experience you needed to have. And I don't really know, like, as far as whether it's truly magic or anything like that, but there does seem to be this serendipitous synchronicity involved when you need an experience to have some kind of a shift or a change, and it just seems to naturally present itself.
Uh, that's kind of the crazy thing for me is that, sometimes the way that the universe works is definitely not going to be in our favor. There are definitely a lot more downs and up, but like we like to discuss on our free time, it's eye of the beholder. And the more you learn to embrace the setbacks, and the more that you learn to embrace the impact of what the universe is actually going to feed you, well, that's you actually learning a little bit of the language of the universe itself. I know this sounds kind of silly, but I mean, like you're saying, some things in life, and even though we might not be happy with what happens, everything has a reason behind it, and it all kind of ties itself in together. Like, if you are actually that in tune, or if you learn to become that in tune with the wavelengths of the universe, then of course, I mean, I can agree with that, because a lot of things that have happened to me in my life the past 3 years, at first, like all the bad stuff, man, and I just wanted to blame the rest of the world for it, and I didn't really know how to manifest positive energy into any of the situations I was involved in. But I realize now that they all played a different purpose for who I am today, and that I can't sit here and possibly try to blame tragedy, like the things that naturally happen in the universe. I can't blame that on anybody. I can't even blame it on myself. It just happens. But it's just like, how do you want to perceive it? Like, how do you want to feel in life,
I have a quote on my wall for that exact thought.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right, where's it at?
Where's the quote? Which, by the way, I did want to say again, I am happy that I am included on this today.
All right, I found it. You ready for it?
Yeah, no, I'm ready. Yeah, is everybody else ready?
All right, can you see it? Actions are within your control. The outcomes are completely out of your control.
That is so true. And here's another thing that I've just had to, I mean, I wouldn't say I recently, like, discovered it, but I would say that recently I've had a review on it, and I see it. Like, we are not in control of anything. We are not God. I mean, at the same time, see, I believe I wouldn't say agnostic. I'm not like agnostic. I'm more like pantheist. Like, I am God. God is everything. God exists in whatever you want it to, because everybody just puts deities and labels on anything they want to. But for me, it's just more of a like natural feeling-esque kind of thing. So for me, whenever I hear that quote, the first thing that comes to mind is I'm not in control of anything. And I'm okay with that. And I don't want to be in control of everything, because, I mean, what would that mean for somebody to sit there and say, hey, I'm in absolute control of everything? That's just a little selfish, I think. Like, we aren't.
I love that this is where you went with this.
Yes.
Okay, so give me a second. Let me
Let me just process this and rub my beard hairs.
I want to really dig into this. All right, because it's perfect.
Yeah, we're getting into this.
it marks a lot of the significance of this day for me. Right, there's synchronicity there, and the synchronicity is that for me, I was raised. My mom and my dad split up in the first year that I was born. All right. Because my dad was cheating on my mom, and that that happen.
That happens. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's okay. I mean, my parents are
little
separated
sister,
too.
my little sister is like 11 months or something younger than me, or I don't remember exactly, but it's not quite that. It's like 13
But
months.
still, this is a very imperative time in a child's life when this happens.
Yeah, so long story short, they split up pretty early, but that was okay because they were really, the two of them were good. It was the grandparents on my dad's side were not exactly fans of my mom. So there was some resistance and tension, and my dad was a bit of an alcoholic, so half the time I had to stay with my grandparents instead of him, anyways. Um, but both sides of the family were Christian. Mom was more of a, she lives in faith, always has. She's gone to church because that's what you did back then.
Oh yeah.
Right now, she's more in alignment with kind of a feeling. But my my dad's parents they took me to Southern Baptist. Or my grandmother. My grandpa didn't go to church, but my grandmother took me to Southern Baptist Church, and I was kind of raised around this whole ideology of Southern Baptist and Missionary Baptist kind of feel. Other churches, like we went to Pentecostal church a couple times. We went to Seventh Day Adventist. We went to a couple of others. And it was all Lutheran church was cool. The Episcopalian church was cool. The Catholic church didn't really, they kind of turned their nose at us. But it's because rich people went there and we weren't rich. But
Well, there you go. Yeah.
that was more of the culture of the people there than on the religion itself, though.
So it was more like, as long as you had monetary value, you were worth something in this town.
Right. Well, at that church, but anyways.
At that church, I mean to say, my bad.
Yeah, but anyways, it's the whole idea of it was very much this duality. You have God and the devil, and there's this eternal conflict of good versus evil. And so, then my dad dies on Christmas Day. That's my Christmas gift. And I'm like, well, thanks, God. And,
I feel that so much, man. And actually, just to not interrupt you, but just to add on to what you're saying, when I was in middle school, like 6th grade, I lived down the, well, I wouldn't call it down the street. It is to me because I love to walk. I'm skating to work, like 3 miles to work all the time. Like, man, I love being outside. I walked 7.5 miles to go to this church. Oh my God, I did it for years, man. And then I met this guy and I ended up getting in a life group with him. Well, it turned out there was one day he just like disappeared from the universe. And for years, I searched for him and tried to find him. Well, he reappears. But this is what happened to him. He was actually trafficking child pornography. Like, and not only that, that's why he went to prison. And then he didn't say anything about it at first, but then he did. Like, we had talked for a couple of days when he came back, and he was like, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I still believe in God. And this is Christian God, by the way. I still believe in God, but I'm definitely homosexual now, and this and that, one or the other. And like, man, this was my life group leader. Like, he tagged me along with a bunch of other kids to go do a lot of things. So whenever I discovered all this, it kind of set me back a bit. And just like you, I was just like, thanks, God. Like, what the fuck is this? Sorry, I don't mean to use profanity. I am trying to avoid it, but like I said, it's for the enhancement of the moment, and that's exactly how I felt. Like, thanks.
I understand.
So anyway,
I think that for me, I that's exactly the tack that I went. I was angry.
Yeah, like angry.
I didn't cope well. And I've always been really intelligent, so I was good at masking most of it. And they tried to get me to go see a psychologist, and I went like twice, I think. And by the second visit, had convinced him that there was no way we were going to talk about anything of substance. And that was that. But it was tough on me, and so I spent a lot of time, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that happened that I don't really want to go into right now, but
That's okay. Let's stay on topic right now. We're good. I understand.
but as far as the whole Christmas thing goes, and so I went, I went anti-God, you know. Well, at first I re-examined, I reread the Bible entirely, over before spring break, actually, and
No, and I massively believe that you did because you are a very informational person. Like, let me make
I wanted
sure
to
that my
see, like,
facts
maybe I
are
messed
correct.
up. I thought maybe it was
Yeah,
my fault,
no.
right?
Yeah.
And so I couldn't find anything that really made it my fault per se, And so then I'm like, well, maybe it's God's just an asshole. Maybe that's what it is. And
Maybe
I
God's
went that
just an
route for a while.
asshole.
And so then I was like, well, maybe there is no God. Maybe Nietzsche was right. I found him in the library. He said God was dead. So I'm like, okay, maybe. I'm like, well, maybe if God's dead, then maybe Satan's still around and maybe he's helpful. So I became Satanist for a little while. And
That
I
kind
mean,
of seems to be the sieve too, which is like I began with Christianity. That really upset me. I wanted to be atheist, and I went to try to do the Satanist shit. Now it's more agnostically driven. I mean, is
uh,
that kind of thing?
yeah, the Satanism kind of it was one of those. It was a more of a philosophical delving. I was really just kind of testing it, and
Yeah.
it felt as hollow as anything else.
Well, hey, people are
And
making it seem like it's working out for them, so why can't it work out for me?
so then I went more agnostic, actually, and I
That's what
flip
I'm
flop
saying. And then you go to the
back and
agnostic
forth.
side of it.
Well, I've flip flop back and forth between there is no God, maybe there's something. So I went atheist, agnostic, back and forth for a couple years, and then graduated high school, and I went to college in Jonesboro, Arkansas, and I met Terry Riley, who was or still is the high priest of the Southern Delta Church of Wicca, and I began studying there, and so I became a Wiccan priest over the course of a few years, and that was, it was pretty life changing. But the thing is I started to witness things that my perception and accepted definition of what reality was, these things were outside of. I got to witness a channeling event where the woman's face literally shape shifted into another face, and it was a completely different voice. Not just like somebody doing imitations. I mean, vocal inflection changed. It was one of the most uncanny things I've ever seen in my life. And it wasn't the only thing that I saw there. And then I started to have these. I'd always had a strong intuition since I was a kid. But for the most part, by that point, I'd started to buy into that whole cultural scientific ideology of it's got to be mind tricks.
Jedi
But
mind tricks.
exactly, that's kind of what I thought it was. Like hypnosis, hallucination, that kind of thing. And then I started having these weird out of body experiences, and I would get up and I would be in the other room, and I would see what was happening in the other room, and I would see something happen that I would want to say something about, and I would snap back into my body, realize I hadn't actually been up, stand up, go into the other room, and give the other person a piece of my piece of my mind about what they just did, and they're like, how the hell did you know I was in here alone?
It's like Matt Groening with the Simpsons shit, and they're like, he's a time traveler. Everything that he put on his episodes, he predicted far before it happened, kind of thing.
Yeah, and is it prediction or is it really just quantum entanglement?
I was about to say, this is bending the laws of quantum physics itself almost. Like, hey, I'm fitting into the sieve with my soul, and I'm returning to my meaty flesh body to come and tell you about it.
Yep.
Yep.
The Toltecs talked about that. They called that having a Nagwal. And basically, what that meant was you'd undergone this process where you could send your spirit out away from your body, but there was still enough of your spirit in your body to keep it alive. And
Here's what I want to ask you then. You know about the Mandela effect, correct?
oh yeah,
Okay, I figured you did. And here's my big example to use for it so that we make this really simple and quick. The Bearstein Bears. That's the perfect example to use. Is it Bearstein or is it Bearstein? Was it spelled with an E or was it spelled with an A? Which way do you remember it?
well, when I was a kid, from the timeline that I'm from, it was spelled with an E. But in this timeline, it's spelled with an A.
I'm okay. I am on the same level with you on that. Then okay, now Kit Kat. Do you remember there being a hyphen in the middle of Kit Kat? Because I do.
What, is there not?
There's not. There's absolutely not a hyphen in the middle of Kit Kat now.
Yeah, of course not. No, I don't.
So that's their big bend, is like people like us, we remember it a different way. And then there are people that will say, well, no, it's been this way ever since I was born. Then you turn around and say, well, this is how I remember it. The whole bend and the Mandela effect, which is what I'm going to actually kind of correlate and tie in with what you were saying, is it bends the quantum physics a little bit. They say people like us are interdimensional time travelers, where like we saw it a way that we did in the time that we did, and then we somehow carried it over to this timeline now and this dimension we're existing in now with our souls. And that is why we view it that way. That is what is being claimed anyways. But you know, like you're saying,
okay. I got you. All right.
but you say, hey, I wake up, I had this weird ass fucking, it seemed like a dream. And some people could say, hey man, like, you know, that was just a dream. But it's like, nah, I could have woke up and given you a piece of my mind. And you go in there and you tell somebody and they're like, whoa, how did you know that? It's not deja vu. So
yep. Well, on where you're going with the Mandela effect and that weird carryover, right?
Yeah.
All right. So have you seen that teenage kid? He's like 13, 14 now, I think. Named Max Laughlin. He invented a free energy device like on Tesla's concepts that fits in a 5-gallon bucket. And
no. Oh wow.
Yeah, for like $20 worth of parts. And
oh god.
And so his dad has been helping him try to get that to market for the last year and a half now. But he has this YouTube channel, and he has this other video where his dad's asking him, because apparently he mentioned to his dad his theory about the Mandela effect and where it came from, what happened. And it's a pretty good theory. His theory is that when we turned on the Large Hadron Collider, he believes that we collapsed the old universe.
What?
Yeah. So my thought is he doesn't know why some people remember the old universe, the old timeline, and some people remember only this new one.
Man, that's like whenever people hear Jim Carrey, they say he's going crazy now because he just doesn't have a way to articulate that none of us actually kind of exist in a way. It's like we're just in these human fleshy husks or whatever. It's like he didn't actually have a way to convey that. So everybody thought that Jim Carrey was crazy, but he actually had a profound thing he was trying to convey to the universe. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're saying about this kid, right?
Yep.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
Yeah, and so when I watched this video, what he didn't know was why some people remembered and some didn't. So I have a tack on to his theory that I'm releasing to YouTube now. And my tack on to his theory is that the reason that some people remember it and some don't is those of us that remember it were awake in the last timeline when the event occurred.
Yes.
That microsecond, because as you were saying a moment ago about what Jim Carrey was saying about us not being real.
Yeah.
So look at what you are. All right, you're atoms, right? But when you look at atoms, they're 99.99999999999% empty space, right? And so within that empty space, it's an equally, ridiculous amount of empty space inside each one of those particles, each subatomic particle. And inside those spaces, you have the quantum scale. You are below Planck length. And in that scale, normal physics breaks down. But it's still predominantly empty space, but energy becoming implicate and explicate. Basically oscillating or vibrating between there and not there. Right?
Yeah.
So
like
if that's
I'm
what
static,
we're made
I am
out
not
of,
static.
if that's what we're made out of, right? My thought is that simulated reality theory that everybody keeps kicking around, what if we're in a big MMO and these bodies that we're in are an avatar that our conscious wave is tuned to?
This is what you were talking about in your video about astrology, how it's kind of a base thing and we're just loading up save states that people leave behind for us to load up. Like, okay, so I watched this video here the other day, and it was about what if life was an MMORPG. Well, it was hilarious. So, like, well, the first 18 or so levels of your life really don't matter. They were talking about how, like, you from level 18, which is your age, by the way, from like level 18 to like level 50, you could either invest in this and that, and it will help your player status. And players also get this little bar above their head for their relationship statuses. I mean, man, I can link the video. It's hilarious.
I love it.
But it was the idea of the fact that, hey, we're kind of living in an MMO a bit. And yeah, it's a little bit of a simulated thing. And like we were talking about earlier, like, there's reasons things happen, and like the universe and the way that like events line up in our lives, like at the same damn time. Like if you ever like have actually sat down and played an MMO RPG or just an RPG and just general, it doesn't have to be an MMO. It is because we're all multiplayer here, but it's like sometimes it feels like you're loading up a save state. And hey, man, I'm just gonna say right now, aside from all that, people are stupid. I am so sorry to say that, but man, if there is a belief in the world, and if enough people are sitting there to back it up, then people will believe it. They will live it. It is much like the Cheshire Cat effect in Alice in Wonderland. Like, hey, you know what? I believed something so deeply, it ended up becoming a memory. It might have been a fabricated lie, and it might have been a lie that was created by other people. But then I'm starting to believe it with imagery, with feelings, like sense, everything, like the placebo effect a little bit. So, man, that's just the thing, man, is like much like we're talking about with the loaded save state shit. Like, dude, that's just how it is for people in society that really, and I would just encourage more people to find their purpose and actually love themselves, because it is so easy to not do that and then fall into the sieve of other people and the way that they are doing that. So, hey, let me load your save state and I'll continue on from that point. Much like I was saying earlier, you were talking astrology in one of your videos and said, you know what, it's much like loading a save state, and then once people go ahead and press that on you, or like I said earlier, people are kind of stupid. So whenever things are pressed on them and it seems so believable, then everybody follows suit. Like, hey, did you want to jump off a bridge? And everybody jumped off a bridge. That was my idea. Like,
I don't know, like that's kind of the way I thought about it for a long time. But then I read this book by Richard Bach. It's called Illusions: The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah.
Is he a Pisces? I'm sorry, it's because Pisces all about illusion. We're just talking about the astrology thing.
I do not know.
I'm just being funny.
But he has this idea where what if we take this concept where it doesn't have to ever be either or, right? What if all possibilities exist? Okay? And so whichever one you're living out right now is the one you're choosing to. And that's okay. It doesn't matter. So like, why would people choose to have a life where their dad dies when they're a kid, or they get molested or beat, shot, stabbed, whatever? Why would somebody choose that? And it comes down to it, it's an experience and it's different. And if you
Well,
get
and
to
it
have
also boils
infinite
down to
number,
the human component. Like, how are you going to perceive this? How are you going to handle this as a person? Yeah, many people are pressed with many things, but how are you actually going to perceive this, and how are you going to manifest your energy to tackle it?
exactly, it's your experience. And
Exactly.
if
Yes.
if if
Connection.
if you are the conscious wave that just animates the avatar, and you have an infinite number of avatars with an infinite number of timelines to play out an infinite number of possibilities, then it's not so much that you're fated for anything to happen, it's that every possibility happens. And since there is no real time, because time is just a construct of perception within
That
you,
is just a man-made fabrication of bull crap. I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm on a schedule. It's like 12 a.m. I'm going to tell you right now, my little brother has Asperger's autism. Time is irrelevant to this person. He is so pure as a person, like the taboo of society, the standards of society, all that. It does not matter to him. And that's what's so beautiful about my little brother. And every time we hang out, we talk, man, it's like everybody is stuck in these little social sieves and what humans press on them from the beginning of their birth, like time. Okay, there's a difference between time and then actual time, the passing of time, what happens in the events of those time, and then there's man-made time, like it's 12:42 or some shit. Like, I'm sorry, we said no profanity, but like I said, if I'm cursing, it's probably just for the enhancement of the feeling. Now let me tell you, here a couple of years ago, I was really heavy into K2, like Spice. I mean, people ended up doing it, not
oh
liking
man,
it.
I had
It
so much
shatters your mental.
that.
It's terrible, and I was addicted to it for 2.5 years, man. That's why I ended up
Oh,
going
I'm
homeless
sorry.
the
I'm
first
sorry to hear
time.
that.
No, 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 no. I laugh about it these days. I'm telling you, I'm either laughing or I'm sitting here and I'm crying about something. So I might as well laugh, man, because I like I said earlier, the point that I'm at in my life right now, I'm comfortable with that because I'm comfortable with myself and I love myself. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh man, yeah, I did that and you laughed at me. No, I'm going to sit there and laugh at it too because it was stupid. But man, I had a seizure. My mother and my sister had come to pick me up from the apartment I was staying at. And I took a hit of spice before I left, and it was such a little tiny hit. I mean, like I said, I was on it for 2.5 years, man, but I had stayed clean off of it for like 3 months. And then it came back around me, and I gave in to it. And it was just a little tiny bit. So here's another life lesson from me, I guess I could say, is like, man, if it wasn't for you and you tried to leave it in the first place and you went back to it, even if it was just a little bit, it could still fuck you up, man. Like, straight up, like, all right. So
I think that's the case with all psychedelics. I think
it kind of is. It kind
I
of is,
think
but this is
that you get out of them what how you perceive them in a lot of
well,
ways.
and here's the thing: if it were standard psychedelics like acid or mushrooms, I've done those multiple times, then yeah, that would be a general thing. But with K2, it was an uncontrollable thing. You never knew what was going to happen to you. I mean, like, man,
I don't know, man. I mean, I used to smoke blunts of K2. I loved it, but
I did, yeah.
weird. I am a weird person. I'm not kidding. It was not uncommon for me to smoke 8 blunts of K2 in a night.
See, that is where I was at, but like I said, man, like I started getting my hands, well, and my sister ended up working for this store. They ended up being like Chinese mafia cartel people. It was really crazy. I mean, they were
Yeah.
going out of state to go get this stuff, bring it back to their store, and she was a part of these runs, and then she would come back home with trash bags full of it. I mean, man,
Yeah.
but this, anyways, aside from the point.
Yeah.
Right? No. This is the great thing about conversation. So, all right. There was this one day, man, and they were coming to pick me up, and I knew it. But anyways, I went ahead and like smoked some anyways. I was like, whatever. It's not like any other day, even though I've been off of it for a while. This is what happened. So they'd gotten there. Well, it did. It became more than a psychedelic experience. It was quite frightening because I haven't had an experience off psychedelics. Like I said, on a standard acid and mushroom standard, I never have had this experience before. So I start tripping out, man. My sister and my mom, I get in the car with them and they just start looking like demons. And while we're driving down the street, it felt like we were going like 150 miles an hour. We weren't even going that fast. And so, like, okay, all of a sudden it just looked like bricks stacking up in my vision one by one, and I'll tell you the symbolism in all this at the end, but the bricks, they stack up all at once, and my vision fades, and I don't black out, I white out. Everything is white in front of me. It was white, like this color of white, okay? It was like that. And in the very center of this white, there was this spiky black ball. And so all of the white is screaming in loud pitches, like, "Ah, blah, blah." And then the black in the middle is making these weird grunty noises, like, "Brr, brr, brr." Well, it starts trying to stretch out and overtake the white. And it's continuously stretching out. And right before it overtook all the white just blasted it, gone. Everything turned white again. And then I woke up in a hotel, and then my mom and his sister were like, well, we were going to take you to a hospital, but we didn't really know. So we just brought you back here to our hotel. Like, man, I was having a fucking seizure. And not only that, but like I was going through some really crazy stuff and really having to process what happened. So for the next 2 days, I was really quiet. I actually really couldn't do much because even my bodily functions were messed up. It was really crazy, man. So like, anyways, this is what I took out of it to correlate back to our bend of quantum physics, like the universe. If this is what's happening, it is meant for you. And if not, whatever. Destiny and fate.
Yeah.
So destiny was symbolized by the black spotchy stuff in the middle of all the white that I saw. And all of the white was my fate. It was everything that I've lived my life for. It was everything that I've done in order for me to be in this place right now. And the black was complete destiny, trying to overtake my place in the universe, almost like an alternate dimension type of force. Like everything that you're doing and everything that you've done now, this is what's going to happen for you next. That was the white. And the black was, this is everything you could have done. This is everything you could think about doing, and it would change where you're at today. All right. And the little bricks that stacked up before all of this, that was my own special little hell being built by myself. So, it took me a couple of days to process this, but I was ultimately glad that the white took over, because much like we've been talking about this entire time, ever since I hopped on your little video here, it's like, man, everything that we're doing and everything that has happened for us in our lives, there is a reason for it. And if anything goes amiss, if everything goes off put at this point in our lives, we have the ability to do what we need to do, to change what we need to change in order to make it happen for us and the ideal of us. We lived in a really messed up nation. It's really hard to make it on your own. I'm making it on my own right now, and I find it extremely difficult. But the big point, I guess, we're driving at, whether it be like, hey, man, like I lost my dad when I was a kid. Like, I didn't lose my dad, but my oldest sister lost her dad when she was 6. Like, he got shot in the back of the head by his best friend, and she is forever affected by it. And so when I'm sitting here and I'm talking to someone like you, and we're talking about things like this, the fact that you can retain your positivity, you understand that things happen in life for a reason, and you've been through things like we were talking about earlier, like the Christianity and all that stuff. It's like, I went through that too, man. And it's just because we were ultimately seeking out and trying to understand that universal energy, that power we feel that does make these things exist. Like, this is the reason I'm here. This is the reason these things are happening. And no, it's not Jesus, God, or any of that. It's like, man, I'm really theological in that sense too. I'm like, you know what? You look at Muslims, okay, and hardcore Muslims where they go and blow themselves up for 72 virgins in the sky kind of stuff. It's like, well, they don't see that wrong. They don't see that being like totally benign to them, because that's how they grew up. They grew up around people that believed believed in those things, and they're going to naturally believe in them too. And they're going to look at people like us and say, well, that's wrong. But then people that are going to grow up here and be Christians and stuff and all about God and whatever that's about, I mean, man, they don't give those people the same credit. Like, they also grew up around people that were interested or believed in things so heavily that it was pressed upon them ever since their childhood. That's just how we grow up as children. It's complete advertising. I mean, there are products of this society, and then there are prophets of this society. The products being the ones that believe in whatever else the society wants to produce to keep them in line. And then you have people like you and me. I'm not saying we're fucking prophets. I'm just saying that we are people that are open-minded, and we're not going to sit there and believe in one thing just because multiple people said that is something you need to believe in. And that's not really fair for everybody else to sit there and be that way. That's very closed-minded. And I'm sorry, I know I'm going kind of up on a rant, but man, like what you were just saying earlier, just like everything we're talking about, this is just like Merry Christmas. I don't know.
I think that I understand where you're coming from. I had a lot of pain toward many religions. Now I look at religion as a whole.
Well, wait. Before you go on, I just want to say, and this is how I look at religion. Every religion has a deity, a god, an alpha, the mega at the top. And every single religion has a book for this deity, this god, this whatever's on top of the pedestal. And then you have the people of that book that follow that book for that deity. I mean, that's all I'm saying. It's just like, man, I mean, people fit into that sleep.
It's not technically accurate, though, of a statement.
It's not technically accurate, but
like,
in a generalized...
There's a couple dozen religions that fit that set of requirements, but the vast majority of which there's like 1,400.
We're just talking about the main ones, not the sub-side, just like on a generalized
that
point.
Don't follow that particular thing. But what I was going to say there was that religion in and of itself is a tool. And it's just like any label or identifier that we use. Where we lost it from what we had as children is in that indoctrination process of raising us, which is natural. Everyone indoctrinates you as you're being raised, to the point where by the time you get to 18, you're self-indoctrinating animal at that point. You'll go ahead and modify yourself to follow the norms of the society you find yourself in. And so it just depends on which particular culture you choose to spend your time around as to which one's going to be the one that is really going to be the one where you're going to draw a lot of your meaning and inspiration from. But I think that, by and large, I think what you were saying about they're all basically the same thing is, I think, where you were going with that, in that they're all archetypes. They're all the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Really. They're all that archetypal, lens that we can use, but we shouldn't identify with it as the truth itself. It's just a way to truth. But, 30 grams of mushrooms will take you to the truth too. All right.
About to say, you'll reach enlightenment pretty quick there. Hey, but by the way, I do have some friends here at my door, and I'm about to have to leave you. I'll let them in, and we can all say hi for a sec. Hey, I'm on my video chat with my homie. Yeah, if y'all want to head upstairs really quick, I told him it would be a second, so yeah. But no, you're absolutely right about that, and I wish that I could chat a bit longer because we're having a good chat, but I got some homies over, so.
No worries, Bubba. It's been a good chat. Actually, I just realized it's after midnight. I didn't realize.
Yeah, man, we've been chatting for like an hour.
Yeah. So I'd say have a great night and have fun.
Well, would you want to say goodbye with my homies?
I hope everyone has a magical and fantastic evening.
All right, and I hope you do too. All right, man?
I already am.
All right, much love. Merry Christmas.
You as well.
All right, bye-bye.
Later, bub.
Okay. Yeah, no, we were doing a live thing, a vlog about
You're still live, Tyler. There you go. Oh, so much love. I did not realize how long this conversation had gone. What I was going to say there at the end about religion, though, is it's a tool. Um, just like your name is a tool, you use it so that people can refer to you in simple conversation. But you're not your name. Uh, you're not any of these other labels that you use to describe yourself as well. You're not a professional. You're not a dad. You're not an artist. You're not any of those things. What you are is preeminent to all of that. So remember what it's like to be that child who isn't set in any definition of what they are. That's what getting to see my dad last night did for me. Is it reminded me that I can always have that childlike wonder, happiness, and glee, and share it with everyone I talk to. I don't have to give in to hatred or anger or fear, because giving into those would mean that I cared about anything anyone else thought, and I don't. It's not really my job. And I'm happy right now with who I am. And the only thing I really hope is that you find a way to make sure that you are too. I hope this has been a great episode for you. I know it's run a little long, longer than normal, but we talked about some interesting things. If you have any questions, please comment, subscribe to the channel, and just know that even if I don't know you, I'm thinking about you right now. And I feel so much love radiating from my heart out along all these little photons that rush to the little receptor in the camera and convert to electrons that travel across the internet into your computer, converting back to photons right out your screen to your eyes, filling you with so much love. Until next time, remember to have fun. Expect a miracle.